Hello, Jashina. Here we are again. Um, I'm not really surprised by the latest abuses, but I am disgusted, of course. Now being accused of tampering with the boiler, having imaginary phone calls. This housing agent, who no one knows the name of, apparently I told him, her, there, whoever they are, that I had somewhere else to live, so it conveniently looks like as though you're not evicting me. That's very clever. But the thing is, Jashina, there are many flaws, of course. First of all, lies have time limits. Eventually, they expire and become known to the world. But also, there's this thing called technology, and with technology, there are call logs, not just my personal call logs, but BT's, gift gaps, things that can very easily be determined to be true or not. And also, there's geolocation data. So when I take a photo, it doesn't just say this is the subject of the photo. If certain settings are turned on, like location settings, it also says Barry or whoever was at B29, B18, or in another city entirely. So you made a common mistake of lying without having any sort of foresight, without having anything other than egregious audacity, very wrongly placed. So yeah, so we can expose those lies instantly. This phone call I apparently had with a housing agent to say that I had somewhere else to live. Well, I'm sure BCB would have something to say about that because I've been paying them money at least twice this year to book a hostel because I had nowhere else to live, which is strange because that doesn't really make sense because apparently I had somewhere else to live. So why would I be paying for a room in a hostel? That's strange. And why do I have audio evidence relating to this hostel visit? That's really strange. But of course, I'm just imagining things. I'm just deluded. How was it? The council probably. I think that I had an obsession with the thermostat or something. I became unsettled by the thermostat. Yeah, that was a good one. The thermostat which you told us not to touch. Do you remember? But apparently we were all shown how to use it and encouraged to use it. But I remember when you told me. What was it? We're not to touch it, otherwise Sad will know about it. I imagine you're going to deny that as well. Yeah, again, we have this thing called technology, covert surveillance, might be the term that you're familiar with. So I said I would go on a hunger strike in response to this suffocating and completely sickening abuse. This is precisely the kind of abuse I suffered at school. People beating you, people lying about you, defaming you, mocking you. You know that I would never even consider in a million years even touching the boiler. The whole narrative of truth shows that I was the one who brought concept into the fold. I complained and tried to get Jethro to hear my other complaints, but because you evicted me without even telling me, again, call logs can prove that, and eyewitnesses and so forth. We can very easily, with technology, the game is up, Jashina. The game is up entirely. You can keep backing SAG and the council, but all of the evidence is stacked against you. I'd never even dream of touching a boiler, and full well I've never been warned not to touch the boiler because, of course, I'd never even consider touching the boiler, and certainly not tampering it, but even touching it. In fact, I only learned where it was, I think, maybe a couple of months ago. That was actually inside the bathroom, because I thought it was outside. It was actually inside the bathroom, and you probably know that the second or third, whatever, British gas engineer who turned up couldn't actually service the boiler. He had to write the job off as being a no access because the boiler was under lock and key. This boiler that I was supposedly tampering with was under lock and key, so a professional engineer couldn't do the job because Sag, again showing his lack of foresight, again proving he didn't unlock the boiler. So it would be entirely funny were it not so sad and pathetic. This is bullying, whether you realise it's bullying, whether or not you realise this or not. It doesn't change the fact that it is bullying and it's disgraceful. This is what brings us to self-harm, as you know full well. When Sam was kicking off, you were there for me. You helped save me. You saved me then. It's up to you whether or not you save me now. And that means making the difficult decisions, not the easy ones, but doing what's right, making the difficult decisions. That means speaking to the council, speaking to Preet Gill, Steve McCabe. For some strange reason beyond me, it's now been passed to Preet Gill when she's not my local MP. I don't quite know what's going on there, but I'll try and find out from Preet Gill. But either way, speak to Preet Gill, who apparently for some reason is now handling the case. Speak to Preet Gill, and it's up to you. You can end this hunger strike. You can say, you know what, Barry was never warned. He would never touch the boiler. He never had this phone call with this invisible housing agent who apparently doesn't have a name. I'm sure they exist in Sadger's own world, or whoever it is spreading these lies. And you can do that. You can speak to the council. You can save my life and other people's, because when someone from within an abusive company comes forward, it's much more impactful. You know, I can save a day, I can save today, I can expose HB Housing Limited, I can expose Sage, I can expose yourself, I can expose you all to YouTube, I can do that, all of the audio recordings, video evidence, everything. That's one day, that's one moment when people look up and say, avoid that company, HB Housing Limited, avoid the staff, they're all evil. I can do that, but that's a day. To actually change society, we need the abusers themselves and their enablers to come forward. That's what I'm fighting for. That's why I'm trying to appeal to you, to your good nature, to say, come forward, speak to Preet Gill. Otherwise, I will die. The whole point is that I've always been honest, never lied to anyone. I'm willing to live for the cause and die for the cause. So this is the start of the final hunger strike now. I had my last meal yesterday. I had some struggles trying to juggle multiple responsibilities. I promised I'd babysit some people in Celio, babysit people's children, but so I had to eat a little now and again to make sure I had the energy, but I have to at some point stop doing that. Yet another casualty, and I can tell you about all the casualties of this abuse that you've raised against me. You see people as cheap commodities, just evict them. You call it a license agreement, and what was it Jethro of Concept Housing said? Exclusion, or something to that term, something to that effect, exclusion instead of eviction, even though it amounts to the same thing. That's interesting how by changing a word it's deemed more ethical in some way. No, that person's still been made homeless, and you didn't even tell them that they'd been made homeless. You knew they were away visiting family. Yeah, that's sickening abuse. Really, really sickening. You should be ashamed of yourself. All of you should be. But so it's up to you, Jashina. You know, I'm more than ready to live and die for the truth, because the truth is my whole life. I've been trying to expose abusers, expose the lies that hold us down, and that's why this is so important to me. This is what sends people to psychiatric hospitals, sends people to self-harm, to suicide, this suffocation. When I read that letter, gosh, I couldn't believe the lie and the nonsense, the way it was written so unprofessionally. It was a mess. So start with a few lies, Jashina. If you really have the courage to do what is right, speak to your colleagues, speak to Preet Gill. Just don't even speak to your colleagues, you don't need to speak to them. Speak to Preet Gill, ask for protection, say, yep, these things never happened, and we can move to the next phase. We can set up a select committee, look into supported housing, because that's going to happen anyway, whether or not I'm alive, or I'm dead. But you can speak to Preet Gill while I'm alive, or you can speak to the police after I'm dead, because they will be asking, why did he die? Did he die because he tampered with the boiler and couldn't come to terms with it, or because he was telling the truth? He said he would live for the cause, and he said he would die for the cause, and I will do. Apparently this is the cost, then so be it. Let it be me instead of someone else. Let it be me instead of your next victim. So, yeah. That's it. I've had my last meal. This is day 1 of the final hunger strike, 12th of May 2022, 1:09 p.m, or as I like to say, 1:0 p.m. Oh, it's just turned 1:10, so it's actually 1:10. I can't even say 1:10. I could, but 1:10. I'll say 1:10 p.m. 12th of May 2022, the final hunger strike. It's day 1 of no food, and I just hope that you're happy with yourself when I die. If I die, my life is in your hands, Jashina. It's up to you now. You can speak the truth. This is what you've done. This is where you've pulled us to. Not me, you. Not standing up for the truth. You know, he saved my life once when Sam was kicking off. He held us all hostage. Do you remember I had my bed against the bedroom door? Remember he smashed the bin, he smashed alcohol, he smashed glasses, and I kept begging you for CCTV. That this person who apparently is tampering with the boiler kept begging for CCTV. I'm sure you recall. I've got written evidence, but I'm sure you'll deny that too. I'm sure you'll deny that as well. But it's up to you now. You can defy your colleagues, you can defy the council and speak the truth. Tell Preet Gill what's really going on, or you can watch me die. This is day 1. This is not my doing, this is your doing. Saj's doing, the council's doing. The cowards in the lion's den, this is your doing, not mine. When we come to self-harm, it's because we suffocate, because we can see no other way out, because we're up against insurmountable odds, and this is what you're doing. So, I'm going to forward a copy of this video to Preet Gill. I made another video to you, a plea, but I wasn't able to send that in time, and still trying to work out how to juggle so many responsibilities. I said I'd gone on a hunger strike, and so I had to, because I would speak the truth. But yeah, it's I think it's clear you're not going to apologise. Saj is never going to apologise. No one's going to apologise for their lies. So the stakes have to be raised, I guess. So let it be me, let it be my life instead of someone else's. Let it be so. You should be aware that there are also multiple petitions, Facebook pages, and countless YouTube videos that will be going live in the event of my death, should I die. Then yeah, they will be going live and it will be game over. There will be a police investigation of some sort, almost certainly. So it's up to you now. It's up to you. My life is in your hands, Jashina, just as it was once before. Earlier this year, in fact, not so long ago, do you remember? My life is once again in your hands. It's up to you now. It's up to you and Darcy and Nazia and Saj to stop blaming me and saying, why is Barry doing this? What's wrong with complaining? It's you guys who have been unreasonable. You have to take that responsibility now. You have to start speaking the truth. Tell Preet Gill the truth about the boiler, about British gas engineers, about the thermostat, that you warned us not to touch it, and now everyone's saying, everyone was shown how to use it. Well, I can contradict that very easily, immediately, in fact, and I will try to seek an audience with Preet Gill. I will, if I can meet Preet Gill, I will share with her some of the evidence, but the rest will be made public to expose, because it's the only way that we can feel that we can breathe. But in the here and now, while I'm still uploading this and while I'm waiting for this apology, which shall probably never happen, I will be starving myself, because that's where I am now. That's all that I feel I can do right now until we move to the next and final phase, which will see to more than a shutdown of HP Housing Limited, much more than that. And it's up to you now, Jashina, to find some courage, some decency, and do the right thing. Expose what's going on. Stand up for me like you did before, but not me as such, because my life is unimportant. Stand up for other people, the people your company has failed, the people who will fail. Stand up for them. Tell Preet Gill the truth, and we can move on. We can then talk about this at the select committee that I'm pushing for, or okay, well then it's goodbye for me, because you've always spoken the truth. If I must die for the truth, then so be it. I will die, and the world will know why I died, and the world will also ask Jashina, why did you hold on to these lies? You let an innocent person die, you allowed him to be defamed, you allowed him to be evicted just for complaining. The truth will be known, and it'll be more than your career, that's over. Your whole life as you know it right now will be over. It's time for you to make a decision. I can't make that decision for you. Until we move to the next phase, I have done all I can here. It's on you now. It's on you. It's your responsibility. Stand up for the right thing. Expose HB Housing's lies, Concept Housing's lies, and the council's lies. Expose, stand up for truth, and I will try to get an audience with Creed Gill, but obviously day by day my energy is going to be getting dropping. My energy levels will be dropping and dropping. So day 1 of the final hunger strike, 12th of May 2022, 1:15 p.m. Waiting for justice, waiting for Jashina to stand up and do what is right. Will she? We'll find out in chapter 2, I guess.